Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Canadian Chamber of Commerce's Technology and Impact webinar. My name is Ryan, and I am the Executive Director of the Chamber. I will be your host and moderator today. The dialogues of technology and impact have become so intertwined that really a new concept has been born, tech for good. Technology being used specifically for impact is becoming more commonplace and is creating new opportunities for entrepreneurs, investors, and corporates, not only to do business, but to do good. So today we'll be talking about innovation, technology, ESG, and impact, all terms that are thoroughly becoming embedded in the everyday dialogues of business, sustainability, and community. This has happened pretty quickly though. And so what exactly ESG and impact mean, especially in relation to innovation and technology, is not always clear to stakeholders, some of whom may not even realize that they're stakeholders. So we hope to clear up some of that today, as well as elaborate on the opportunities that these things represent. For the Chamber's part, our everyday objective is to provide the best opportunities and value for our members now and in the future. And so looking ahead, tech for good, ESG, and impact seem poised to be a significant part of that future. So we're excited to be hosting this event today. Now, before we get started, I would like to quickly thank our sponsors, our Maple Leaf sponsors, CN, Manulife, Sun Life, and Vena Capital, as well as our gold sponsors, KPMG and Baker McKenzie. So thanks to them. Their support means that we're able to put on great events like this, and we're really grateful for them. Other than that, let's get to it, shall we? Let's start with our first speaker today, the founder and CEO of Spring Activator out of Vancouver, Keith Ippel.
Thanks so much for having me be a part of the session today. I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you. Before I pull up my presentation, everyone, I am the CEO and co-founder of Spring Activator, and really looking forward to sharing a bit about this intersection of impact and tech, which is, really where I spend my time each and every day. So I'm going to do a quick screen share and, spend about 10 or 15 minutes just on the topic, on the areas that I personally love to talk about in this. And as we go through, if it does trigger any questions at all, I do have the chat up as well. So if you have any questions, you can come off of mute, or you can just type them into chat, and I would be happy to discuss. So just to give you a bit of background on Spring and why we're talking about impact plus tech. So we exist to change the world through innovation, and Spring works in 3 pillars. So we work in entrepreneur development, so generally early stage, idea through to about 2 million in annual revenue. We also do a lot of work around the investment ecosystem. And in investment ecosystem, we're educating, training, supporting impact investors, helping people to get into impact investing, and then supporting deal flow. And then the last piece is ecosystem development, and that is working with governments, donors, funders to help them to really unlock this innovation ecosystem that we're talking about here today. We've done a lot of work on a global basis, and as you can see, we've worked with a tremendous number of companies and entrepreneurs. And this gives you a bit of a sense. We've worked in about 50 communities around the world. And so really excited to continue to do the work that we've been doing in Vietnam now for almost 4 years. And so just to give you a bit of context for impact plus tech and this world that we live in, and this context is so often easily grounded in what is called the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And many of you will know this already. Some of you, it will be new to you, but the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs for short, really are the place where impact entrepreneurs and impact investors have an opportunity to kind of share why they're doing what they're doing. So what is the underlying purpose? What are you trying to achieve? How are you trying to make the world a better place? And the great part about the Sustainable Development Goals is that any of us can look at this list and we can actually see one or more things that we personally would be excited about or we want to see change. And then really our goal here in this world of impact plus tech is to say, how can we leverage the power of technology and innovation to actually make some of these things happen for the first time Say, for example, things like quality education for all or true gender equality. So how can technology and innovation help to achieve that for the first time? Or how can we achieve it in a way that really has never been possible before, either within a local community or around the world? And so this is a great place, I think, for all of us to start. One thing I do want to touch on, and some of you may have seen some of these photos at the start of COVID, when there was a great photo in northern India where they could see the Himalayan mountains for the first time in 35 years, right? And so this idea of like climate action, UN SDG 13, life on land 15, right? So it's a great opportunity to see this. But when we think about Impact Plus Tech, it's number 17, right? It's partnership for the goals that really helps to drive this change. And so if you want to get a sense as a business person, as an entrepreneur, and also as an investor, you can see here that this movement that is investing for good or impact investing is the fastest growing movement in investing, and especially early stage investing today in 2021. Many of you have heard the term ESG investing for the public markets, but impact investing at early stage allows us to go even farther. And so it's an incredibly fast growing community. Again, the fastest growing community and the fastest growing source of capital. So as we think about growing our businesses and as we think about investing in business, clearly there's something important that's happening in this world. And I'm going to dig into a few examples here. So one of the things that I love to talk about here is the investment in clean tech. And clean tech, we can talk about the definition, but clean tech, those pieces of technology that are helping to do things like alternative energy, waste management, sustainability, aquaculture. There's so many different components to clean tech, but as a part of this, you can see that so much capital has been moving in the last couple of years. And in 2021, almost equaled the record just in the first 6 months of this year. So you can see that the opportunity is real when the capital follows those opportunities. And so these are some fantastic data points to help give you some confidence around that. I do want to share a couple of interesting examples for you in this world so you can kind of get a clearer sense as to the types of organizations that we're talking about. So in clean tech, one on the right-hand side of your screen, Open Ocean Robotics. Open Ocean Robotics is hardware and software, and Open Ocean Robotics is a company that is focused on monitoring and protecting the health of the oceans. Blue economy. It's hardware, it's software, it's alternative energy, it's solar powered, and it's transforming the way businesses and governments do everything from monitoring ocean health through to early detection of undersea earthquakes and tsunamis. Moment Energy, the logo on the left, is a company that upcycles used electric vehicle batteries into portable energy units. And so it's a phenomenal opportunity, especially as electric vehicles are becoming mainstream in many markets. And so it's a huge opportunity to take the waste of those electric vehicles, the used batteries, and turn them into power. And recently signed Nissan Motor Company as a partner, just raised $3.5 million to scale that opportunity. So two companies that really give you a sense of the opportunity that exists. So another sector in this world of impact is healthcare. And so, of course, many of us have seen the impact of healthcare during COVID, but not just in COVID vaccinations, but also in mobile health, remote health, democratizing access to healthcare. And so you can see on this chart that when we look across this, this marketplace, there's actually 10 sectors that are impacted. And so blockchain, many of us think of blockchain in financial tech, or we think of blockchain as Bitcoin, but blockchain has so many powerful uses, of which, access to healthcare and making sure that the healthcare records are well maintained throughout the system is a critical component of how blockchain can add value. 3D printing for people with disabilities, for people who are missing limbs, for people who are also looking for therapy devices. 3D printing is a great example of what's happening. Many of us have seen mobile health and telemedicine in action during this stage. And so healthcare is a huge place where you see this intersection of impact and technology, innovating to make the world a better place. In this case, very focused on people, and clean tech very focused on, planet first as well as people. So a couple of really, really great opportunities there. Now, another area that I like to talk about is around food. And in food, there's a couple of key components here. So if we are food entrepreneurs, you can see here, 3 in 4 consumers expect their companies to invest in sustainability. 3 in 5 consumers want to know where their food is coming from. So the customer is demanding what we would call a sustainable food movement. Now, the global population is forecast to be 11 billion people by 2100. And in order to feed 11 billion people, the world's food system needs to increase productivity by 70%. So it's a massive increase, almost doubling in capacity. And so we need innovation to come around and support that. So I'm giving a couple of examples here just to give you a bit of a sense as to where I think the opportunities for innovation are in technology and impact around food. So first, Vega, plant-based protein company, really innovated around protein-based supplements and snacks, company that went from 0 to a $400 million exit in just under 5 years, happens to be a Canadian company. Terramera is a very interesting company. Terramera is actually a company that uses all natural pesticides. So in other words, instead of putting chemicals on the crops to protect them from disease, they actually use natural occurring ingredients and chemicals in order to actually protect the crops that we're all eating, but it protects us and also makes agriculture more sustainable. And then in a third very different world is this company that is called Sustainable. And so for Sustainable is a great company where there's this industry, and I know in Vietnam it's been a fast-growing industry too, which is the beer industry. But beer creates a lot of waste, and in particular grain waste. And Sustainable, what they do is they actually take the waste byproduct of the grains from beer and alcohol production, and they actually turn it into food and actually do an incredible job. So they're taking all the waste of the ecosystem to create renewed food for people to consume. And so it's a fantastic example. Again, 3 very different approaches to creating a sustainable food economy based on what we're doing today and where we are going as a population. So that gives you a bit of an overview, and I think I've kept myself on time. I hope that I have. And I just want to give that to you as an initial introduction into this topic of impact plus innovation. Many sectors all grounded in the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And this is a place where we as entrepreneurs, as business leaders, and as investors, we can choose where we want to invest based on the SDGs. As you heard, there are sectors like healthcare and clean technology, food, but also some amazing other sectors that I haven't touched on at this point in time, including things like education, circular economy, and waste management are all great examples of sectors with phenomenal potential for innovation, for the application of technology for financial returns, and making the world a better place.